All right, what's up, everyone? This is the Osmo.com NHL Hit the Ice show. Just a two-game slate today, so we'll talk about those two games really quickly, and then actually maybe before we might look at last night. It was an interesting slate. I mean, I didn't hit anything big. I don't know. It seemed like it was kind of an uneven night throughout chat. I know some people had big nights. Um, but yeah, the big 888 just felt like there should have been more that went on. At least that was my feeling. Edmonton was a huge letdown for me, so I was on them pretty heavily. McDavid had some Draisaitl, so it was looking good there for a while, but ultimately did not hit anything big, and they were on my 888 team as well, which I stupidly entered after telling myself all day I wouldn't play it. Ended up being baited into some overlay. I got demoted to NHL. What does that mean? No one plays NHL. Well, the people watching this show do. I play NHL. It's my favorite DFS sport. The other three Colorado D-men scored. Yeah, so Tyson Barrie also was a letdown. I got off a little bit of him, but yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. TP. Yeah, Nemeth was a letdown. Tyson Barrie was a letdown. What was the nut stack? Was it Columbus? Was it Columbus second line? Wenberg scored a goal. I know there were a couple lines that did okay. Oh, Montreal won for sure. But it was kind of an uneven night. Pittsburgh was awful. Boston didn't do anything. Washington won. I thought they were going to end the slate, 2 minutes into it. They got a full line goal and then just did nothing afterwards. Columbus won. Yeah. Chicago won was decent. Yeah, they got there in the third period. Old Columbus won. Yeah, with Panarin back up there. But, I don't know. I felt like it should have been a better night also, because I was right about the stuff that I faded. Tampa won, you were okay fading them. Nothing really on the Vegas side. I was on Montreal. That third line was actually okay. Lehkonen zero hurt. But, yeah. All right. Let's see what we can do here. Are you able to show how Fantasy Cruncher can be useful for smaller 3-entry max? Yeah, I think we can do that, Nick. So remind me later, and we'll go through some Fantasy Cruncher. Gonna try my first NHL contest ever tonight. Love to hear it. TP, going with DK. Any general tips for a two-gamer? So what I was saying all last week when we had this terrible schedule was just that two-gamer, nothing big changes, right? There's just less options. Ownership's a little bit more concentrated. We see some softer pricing. You're not used to seeing Boston under 21K, and they're under 21K. Rangers one's probably a little underpriced. You've got some underpriced lines, but that's just because you have to be able to fit in 8 skaters, right? So nothing really changes. You're still stacking. I'm still stacking. Maybe you want to switch up your stack. I think it can actually be an edge to full stack on a 2-game slate, because if you full stack, let's say, for example, you do this. Let's say you like the Rangers 1 and you like Ottawa 2. Okay, so you're full stacking there. Yeah, all these guys are going to have ownership for sure. You might, everyone's going to be at least in the teens. I think all these skaters, and then you add in some expensive defensemen too, and you're still you don't even have to do this. You can correlate. You can go with, where are we at? Shattenkirk. He's 4K. Throw in Muzzin or Riley. Now you've got 10-2 remaining. And what people will do is they'll start building their lineups like this, and then they'll just upgrade at one of these spots. They'll just take one of these guys out. They'll take Colin White out and be like, oh, nice, I've got enough for Bergeron. So I think there's a lot more of that goes on for 2-gamer slates. I don't know. It just feels like that happens a little bit more often than on the bigger slates where people just full stack. So my advice would be okay with leaving salary on the table on a shorter slate. If you like two stacks and you want to pair them together, don't feel like you have to spend every penny of the 50K that you get on DK. You in the World Championship qualifier on DK? Brian, are you in it? Let's see. I think I've got my... Oh, no. Let's see where we're at. I'm not in it, to answer your question. I want to look at it, though. Where is it at? Is there a tournament tonight, are you talking about? Or just, like, did I qualify? Because the answer to both would be no. I've not qualified, and I'm not playing it tonight. Why not? Because it's tough to qualify. I haven't really been chasing it hard. I chased it pretty hard the first few qualifiers. I took a couple stabs and just, bombed a couple. So I got to go last year. It was a great time. So if you're in it, and it's your first time, then just take advantage of it. It's super fun. Try not to overthink it. But yeah, would definitely recommend trying to do that. Play a $5,300 head-to-head with Sissima. Why would I do that? Hyman or Solaric on DK, either possibly both kind of cheap. I guess I would go Hyman. I have no clue. A 1v1 with Hyman and Solaric. That's pretty tough. But I like Toronto 1 better than I like Boston 2, so I think of it as the full line somehow. Hyman does have exposure to better players, I think, than Solaric. All right, what's up, Eagles? Eagles, you can talk in the premium Slack as well if you don't want to talk in the YouTube chat. But, well, a lot more people than I expected for a 2-gamer. So, can fit Toronto 2 and Boston 1 with some value one-offs. All right, let's mute that for a second. One-offs and crew, yeah, that's pretty nice. Pricing's pretty soft. So let's see. Anything else? Kincaid hurt, yeah. I had a lot of Kincaid on FanDuel. I'm playing FanDuel again tonight, just to keep trying to get a big score in that $3. So just play like 20 over there, low dollar stuff, and try to build a bankroll a little bit, because I should be playing more on FanDuel, especially come baseball season. So all right, what do we got here? Do you guys want to talk about the 2-game slate? You want to talk about last night a little bit, take a look at what some other players did? Because I kind of want to look at what some other players did last night. But we could do either, go through both games. There's not a ton of interesting stuff to talk about. But of course, we're going to talk about it. So actually, let's go through the games. Then I'll kind of talk about what Alex Osmo did last night. If any of you guys noticed his lineups, he did not run 4-3-1, which I don't think I've ever seen. So kind of a project that I'm going to do in the next couple days is go back on Crunch or Rewind and see if he's not full stacking or if that was just a one-off thing or what's going on there. But there's also a couple other players that I think are really awesome that some of the guys aren't correlating their defensemen, which guys that usually do that all the time. So I don't know. Maybe people are just trying out different stuff. It's more at the mid stakes, but something to pay attention to for sure. All right, let's talk about this. These chalk leaves here. 2.7 implied total for the Sens. 3.9 for Toronto. Yeah, we'll talk about that, Brian. It wasn't a huge score, but actually one of our subscribers got third in that, I think. So congrats to whoever that was. I can't remember your name, but One of our subscribers did really well on that. All right. Craig Anderson, Frederick Anderson, the battle of the Andersons, one with an O, one with an E. So we were going to have Leafs like really, really chalk here. They're going to be, we're going to see Matthews and Tavares and Marner. I don't know. Depending on the stakes, I think they could be around 50%. Maybe Matthews or Tavares. Their line mates, especially like Hyman and Kapanen, these guys aren't going to be as highly owned, so I'm not too worried about trying to get over the field. The line I'm going to have more of is the Tavares line. And the reason that I've got that right now, at least, I don't see much changing, is that I think Tavares is going to see more time against the Duchesne, Ryan Zingle line. And that line's been pretty bad defensively. So they're giving up a ton of shots, scoring chances, high danger chances, all that stuff we'd like to see. And if Tavares is going to be glued on Duchesne, which they like to do at home, they like to go up against the top line. And assuming they consider that the top line, which isn't a 100% thing, you don't exactly know what coaches are thinking here. If they think Stone is the guy they want to try to shut down, or Duchesne. Most teams have been treating Duchesne like the top center, or I'm sorry, like the top line. So that's kind of what I'm going with right now. Okay, yeah, Corsi. Yeah, Corsi or Leafs. Man, they're just going to be so chalk. But I think what you do with the Leafs here is you take a stand on one of the top two lines if you're MMEing. So that's what I'm doing. I'm taking a pretty big stand on the Tavares line, and that's how it's going to go. I kind of laid out why. I think the Matthews line is going to have the rougher matchup, and we don't talk NBA on this channel, on this show. We have a bunch of NBA shows. If you guys want to check those out afterwards, we can absolutely talk about NBA, just not me, on Osmo.com. Adam, Ship My Money, Share, and Lofty, Dave Lofgren, have a show actually right after this, I think at 5:30 Eastern. So that's where you want to catch the show. Josh does the NBA DFS strategy. Oh, I'm not Osmo, DFS king, but Osmo's my boss. All right. If you are a new subscriber, by the way, you should join Premium Slack. That's where you're going to get a lot of the good information. All right. Are we done with the NBA talk? I think we're good with the NBA talk. I think we got this one gentleman out of the chat as well. So I think we're good to go here. What I was talking about is you take a stand on one of these Leafs lines. And for me, that's going to be the Tavares line. If you think the matchups are going to go differently, by all means, go with the Matthews line. I don't think it's out of the question that they go Tavares against the Stone line, or maybe it's a little bit of both. That's all certainly possible. But yeah, it's a Tavares night for me. So hoping they go up against Duchesne and just kind of the numbers play out. Plus with Tavares and Marner, you get top power play correlation with those two. I love Morgan Riley in this spot. I wonder if people are going to chase the Jake Muzzin big game. I'm not saying Muzzin's a bad play or anything, and neither is Gardner actually, but when a guy puts up like 8 or 9 DK points, like it's only natural for people that played him, maybe that saw the big scores at the top, that they get a little bit of an ownership boost. So I'm just going with Riley here. He's come down in price, and Ottawa's just so bad on the road. They're terrible defensively wherever they're at. Not as terrible when they're at home. When they're on the road and it's a good team, I just don't see how the Leafs don't score 4 or 5 goals here. So Riley's going to be on the ice a ton. So is Muzzin, and they're probably going to be with the Tavares line. So give me some Morgan Riley, and going to be underweight on Muzzin. Probably going to be around the field on on Jake Gardiner. On the Ottawa side, which I think is also super interesting. So it's 2 lines in this game, or I guess it's 3 lines for me in this game. It's Tavares line. I like the Matthews line. My ownership's got to go somewhere, right? So, and I don't want to go all in on the Leafs. So I'm actually giving the edge a little bit just because of ownership reasons and because I really like this Ottawa 2 line. To Ottawa 2. Yeah, Nick says it in chat. My biggest cash outs? I mean, I don't know. But oh yeah, I'm coming back to MLB. We'll talk MLB a little bit. Just a few weeks here, I think. So yeah, we'll be playing some MLB here in just a bit. Ottawa 2 for me is the one I like. Good numbers. Looks like they're all on the power play together. And I wish they would be on Shabbat's unit. I don't know if that's going to stick. They must have just flipped this up. But yeah, I like Ottawa 2. Love Mark Stone. That's where I usually go on Ottawa. And they're going to get the better matchup against the Matthews line. At least that's how I'm treating it. So Ottawa 2 is going to be the stand I make on Ottawa's side. These third lines, I think it's pretty clearly the Kadri line has the advantage. And yes, Connor Brown is on this line. Feel free to leave him off. You can go with Kadri, Nylander, and Marner or Matthews or Tavares if you want to do that. Just get some more power play one time, get a better player because the salary makes it not too difficult actually to make it work. I'm not going after the Andreas Janssen performance. I think he scored 2 goals or something. Whatever. I'm not going to mess with it. Just still play good plays, even though it's a 2-gamer. Let other people make mistakes. So that's what I'll be doing. Shabbat's probably going to be my 2nd highest owned defenseman. And he's going to be behind Riley, though, for sure. These other guys would just be secondary pieces for me. Lejoie does play on the power play, it looks like, with Whitestone and Kachuk. That'd be the guy I'd want to go to over DeMello. So I think I differ a little bit there from Osmo's grades. He's got an A value for DeMello and then a C value for Lejoie. All right. Everyone's out today. Have fun attacking the Leafs. Yeah, that's true. All right. So, Anderson in net. He's always priced up like this, but he always sees a lot of shots. 2-game slate for goalie. I'm never really going to have a strong take. And I usually limit my goalie exposure. No one gets around 20 to 25% on a normal slate. On a slate like tonight, it'd probably be more like 35, 40%. So Anderson's probably going to flirt with that max that I set. I'm sorry. Frederik Andersen is probably going to mess with that. Come close to that exposure. Craig Anderson only in Ottawa 2 stacks or, my couple Ottawa 1s that I end up with. All right. Let's go with the other game on the slate, the last game. We've got the Boston Bruins and the New York Rangers. 3.3 implied total for Boston, 2.7 for the Rangers, and Yaroslav Halak in net against Alexander Georgiev. All right, Boston won. I wrote them up. I do really love them in this spot, and it's more for ownership. My opinion on them is just that they're matchup proof. It's not a great matchup here, but it is a 2-game slate. If the Leafs kind of spread it around, they score, 2 or 3 goals or even 4 goals, and, you don't get the full liners or something like that. I really like Boston 1 at what I think is going to be lesser ownership than both of the Leafs' top 2 lines. At least less than, at least they're going to be, Matthews and Tavares and Marner are going to be higher owned than all of Marchand, Bergeron, and Pastrnak, or at least 2 out of the 3 of them. So, Boston 1 is going to be my highest exposure tonight. They're coming in around 38 to 42%, somewhere in there. but they're going to be my highest exposed line, even though they do get a perceived tough matchup. The Rangers have tightened up a little bit on defense, and still, Boston won, best line on the slate, and they're not going to be the most owned. So just logically, it makes sense to go to that play for me. I have them projected as the highest raw point line as well, so that certainly helps me make that call here. Other lines in this game, I wanted to like Rangers 1 here, but I just, like, if they're going to go up against Boston 1, I like them. I think they have got the advantage in that. I'd rather not target Bergeron. I think, Corsi, didn't you say that they're, like, Rangers 1 has had success against Boston? Am I right about that? Were you talking about that in one of the groups I'm with? I'll answer this question right now. When you're doing 150 lineups, do you run a certain crunch for 100 lineups and then another one for 25, then another one for 20, etc., or do you just run one crunch for 150? For me, I'll run one with like 4 uniques and then maybe run it for 25 or 30 more lineups with 3 uniques, add in different rules for different sets of lineups. But yeah, I definitely use the calculate more button. I don't usually just go straight 150 or 100, however many lineups I'm doing. Sean Corrali, A value. Yeah, so this Boston 4 line, I cannot believe we're talking about a 4th line here, even on a 2-game slate. But so they're listed as the 4th line, yes, but they are getting a lot of even strength ice time, and then they're playing really well. So they've been using in the shutdown role at home. I don't have their numbers in front of me, but I know they're very, very good, and they're going to see the Rangers' depth. So can't really get a better matchup than the Rangers' depth. It's really the one line you're worried about, and then there's just not much else after that. So I think you actually can go to this 4th line if there's ever a night to roll them out. So the thing with the 4th line is the pricing isn't that tight. So that's like my only hesitation with trying to use them in some lineups. Like, you can fit 2 good lines together on this slate. So DK made the pricing a little bit too soft to where I think that's necessary. I think you can play 2 out of the 3 of them maybe if you wanted to do something like that, and just jam in every other stud. But taking up 3 winger spots on Corrali, Akiari, and Wagner's a pretty tough thing for me to do. On the Rangers side, I guess I'm kind of splitting my exposure between the top 2 lines. I just don't really have much on the Rangers I want to go with. So it's going to be just in filler stacks with these other lines that I really like. So I don't want to say that I'm like heavy on the Rangers because I don't think I'm going to be, but I just don't want to target against Boston all that much. The second line for Boston plays at a pretty low pace as well. And like I mentioned, they've got this 4th line that's really like a second, third line hybrid that plays a bunch of minutes and is really good at even strength as well. So just not a lot of weak spots here on Boston, I don't think. So I'd rather not target against them when I know there's going to be a good amount of ownership on the other side. So gonna be below the field on the Rangers here. Torrey Krug is 5,400 B points grade, B value. That would be the obvious guy you want to play when you're going with Boston 1 here. If you want to go to McAvoy, I don't know how they're going to deploy him on the road here or what they're going to do, but it looks like Carlo's back up with Chara. So did McAvoy's numbers did his minutes dip last night? Usually, let's see. Yeah, I mean, they went from 25, 22, 24 to last night 20. He is shooting a little bit more, but if he's still seeing, 20 minutes a game, I think he's still in play for 3,900. All right. On the Rangers side, there's not really any guys I love here. You've got D'Angelo and Shattenkirk. Shattenkirk would be the guy I'd want to go to just because of the power play 1 tag. Pionk is listed on the 4th line, I think, because the Rangers are rolling 11-7. So you might see some double shifting going on from this line, which is, of course, good if you're on them. Because more minutes equals more DFS points, right? All right, those games are not super interesting at all. If you guys want to talk about last night, we can. So I want to look at Alex's lineups. I was just looking at this before the show to see if I saw anything. And so what we're going to do, where we're at here, is Fantasy Cruncher Rewind. And you can get to that just going here, DraftKings. So what he did last night, so I'll just refresh this page so you guys know that this is the page you go to. Rewind is completely free for anyone, even if you don't have Fantasy Cruncher. You can literally try out the tool before you even use it, so before you even pay for it. So pretty good deal there. So I was looking at this. Someone wanted to see the 888. We'll go to the 888. See kind of what won it. Backstrom, Ovi. Oh, Felder won it? Oh, this guy's a good guy. Interesting looking lineup here. So, yes, Rewind definitely helps in future contests. If you're trying to MME, or even if you're not, you want to be able to rewind, see what top players are doing, and try to replicate it and play around with the settings in Fantasy Cruncher to see if you can make 150 good lineups. So Rewind is crucial to DFS success, and it's free. So there's really no excuse to not use it, honestly. This was our subscriber, Tommy Bomb. I think you're in chat here too, so congrats. Last night, it looks like Boston won. Nice. Boston won, Washington 2. Nice job. You've got Orlov, who was on the PP with Verana and Wilson. Great correlation there. Correlated your goalie, so nothing flashy here, but you got it done. So yeah, I liked Washington too as well, so I'm glad they paid off for you. That's pretty cool, man. Hey, Boston one was actually much better than what I said. I said that they didn't really go off, but they did have the full line empty net goal. I forgot about that. So look at this. Everyone below 6.8%. Wow. That's what happens on big slates. Nice lineup, man. What'd you win there? 10K? Nice. Not bad, not bad. All right, so we've got Alex's lineup here. Let's see if he did it in this tournament too. He did. Okay. So, I was looking at his lineups and I just assumed that he goes, nothing like a 9K full line empty net goal. That is the best. You're right. There is nothing like that. But anyways, I just assumed he was going 4-3-1, and I was scrolling through some of his lineups that, there's a couple players I do this for. There's, obviously Testosterone. There's Osimo. There's Tom, JK. There we go. He rolled out good old Lucic as well in this tournament. And he finished near the bottom like me. So nice 0 there. Got what I deserved for playing Milan Lucic for $888. But anyways, Alex's lineup. So I thought this was just kind of a one-off thing. I looked in the 888 and saw this. And, man, he did not roll out a 3-3 even. So he went Martinuk, McGinn, Andrei Svechnikov, okay, and then Taze, Kane, but then he's got Ovechkin one-off. And I haven't talked to him about this. Yeah, of course, I won't show your lineup. It was probably better than mine. It probably beat mine. But, so, he's got the 4-man with Dougie, and then a 2-man, and then, some people do 4-2-2. But he's just got Ovechkin and Ryan Ellis one-offs. So I don't know why he's doing this. It's very unlike Alex. So I don't know. And if, maybe I'm just a fish and I'm getting to this late. Maybe he's been doing this for a couple weeks. But man, if you're going to one-off anyone, it's probably always nice to do that with Ovechkin. But, Slewfoot is another one I look at. Very good player here as well. Very good player here as well. He won the live final last year. Oh, there's Tommy Baum again. Nice, dude. You crushed. Awesimo's 5 entries. Just a quick 4K in this tourney. So in this one, Point, Kucherov, okay, but then no Tyler Johnson. Instead, he's got a Patrick Kane one-off. That's a really awesome one-off, as we all know. They paid off for him here. Sissons, Hartman, and Yarncroc. So I don't know what this strategy is. Like you can tell, I'm perplexed. I'm interested in it. And so Alex doesn't do anything for no reason either. So I don't know if he just doesn't think that 4-3-1 or 3-3 with a correlated goalie just isn't the best way to attack these. But like, let's look at a different tournament here and see if he's doing the same thing. Here we go. His top lineup. Danault, Drouin, Gallagher. Okay. That's a 3-man. Taze. And then that's it. Taze one-off. I don't know if I'd do a Taze one-off. Doesn't really shoot all that much, but he did get the assist. This is why he makes the big bucks. Talking about Alex, not Taze. Taze sucks. Zucker Granlund. I like that mini. And then he's got the correlated defenseman, so 4-man with the full Montreal 1. And then a 2, and then a 1-1. I don't know what to think of this. Here, same thing. Danault, Drouin, Gallagher, Kane one-off, Ratty, McDavid. And then this one, he's got a 3-man with he's got a 2-man with Kane, Gustafsson, and then a 3-man, 2-1. It just seems more cashy. This does not seem like Alex's style at all. So, I don't know. I just kind of wanted to share that with you guys. And it's all over the place. Yeah, it's just interesting. So, if anybody's studied his lineups and you know why, or has this been going on for a while? I don't know. He is my boss, so I could probably just ask him. But I kind of want to see how it works out for him. Like, it looked like he cashed a decent amount of lineups in that 8-8-8. For the most part, though, like, I agree with these one-offs he's making. I don't know about a Perreault one-off, but if he's stacking, maybe he's got a cheap line threshold. Like, he's stacking these cheap lines and then just hammering it with studs afterwards. So it'll be really telling tomorrow. I think we've got like 13 or 14 games. Like, I really want to see if he's going to do this again at any stakes, because it's not something I've seen any consistently good player do. And it's crazy that he just all of a sudden switched his style when he was just always 4-3-1 uncorrelated goalie, and now he's doing this. So very intriguing stuff. I haven't seen a style change like this. The other thing I noticed is, so this is Drewby from Daily Roto. Colin Drew. Very, very good player. Obviously smoked NFL this year. Showdown King. He had a couple lineups in here where he did not correlate his defenseman. And if I'm not mistaken, he's always been a guy that's been going 4-3-1 with correlated goalie. I'm trying to find these lineups where he did this. Weber. All right. Do Testy. Testy's always the same on bigger slates, at least. What I've found. All right, so we've got Weber there. Weber. Oh, this one. Okay, so price. Montreal 1. All right, so that's not out of the ordinary. But then he's got Florida 1 here. His 2 defensemen are on Columbus and Chicago. So I don't know if he like swapped or something, or maybe just swapped out a line and didn't change the defenseman. But I'd be interested to see, because that's not really his style, if I remember correctly. Maybe I just haven't been paying attention, but he's a guy who, if he's doing something different or new, I'd like to take notice, because he is obviously a very good player. Testosterone. It's all the same from Testosterone. Did he bink this last night? God, this guy, man. It's never flashy from Testosterone. Never. On big slates. On smaller slates, he'll do some like Josh stacking and stuff like that, 5-6 man stacking. But okay, Montreal 1. This was what Fantasy Cruncher had. I'm assuming Testosterone uses Fantasy Cruncher. Bjorkstrand, Wenberg with Panarin. Pay up for defensemen. Testosterone, almost always. I would say 90% of his lineups, he pays up for defensemen. If Brent Burns on the slate, and there's no Erik Karlsson, or like he's clearly the best defenseman on the slate, you almost know it's literally all Brent Burns from Testosterone. So, and I think that's the smart way to play too, because like we always talk about, these top defensemen that play 25-30 minutes, first of all, they're on the ice more than the forwards, 8 to 10 more minutes per game. They're just way easy to predict. Their shots, like they don't have to get shots from in close. They take a lot of clappers from the point. A lot of good things can happen when that happens. They have huge upside, but they also have huge floors. So like Burns had what I thought was a pretty bad game. Got bailed out by the shorthanded assist in overtime, but that's part of what you pay for with Burns. He plays everything, and with no Karlsson, it's even better, right? Just less minutes to go around for these top defensemen. So like he got you 3 points, which isn't great, without even an assist. Yossi's the same kind of player, right? He plays 25 minutes a night, shoots it a lot, plays in the top power play. He's just constantly around good players. He's always skating with the Johansson, Forsberg, Arvidsson line, which I've just been fawning all over for the last couple weeks. Like, you just want guys that play a ton of minutes, are willing to shoot, and play in good situations. So it makes sense that Testosterone goes basically all in on Burns. Like, you could scroll down, you could download this CSV right here. I would bet out of his 150, he's got at least 130 of Burns. So what I think that means is, I don't think Testosterone uses randomness on Fantasy Cruncher. It's really just about uniques. So at least that's what I think. So I don't think he uses any randomness, because Burns just projects better than any other player on the slate. DK constantly underprices these top defensemen. Like, you think, okay, Burns is 6,900 last night. Yeah, but if he's supposed to be, based on his production, if he's supposed to be 7,600, then you've got a player that's underpriced, even though he's still high priced. And they're almost always under-owned too. So, like, that's a huge edge if you get 75% Burns, which is what I had last night. And he wasn't even that great, but he still was, a top 6 or 7 scoring defenseman. So I played I played Chad Johnson in cash, so should I just quit? What was Lucic owned in the 888? Man, I think he was. Let me go to it. I think 14% though. I thought it was gonna be one of 4 people to play him, and I was just dead wrong on that. Let's go to my terrible lineup. Yeah, 14%. He was, do you play the 888? I mean, this year I have stuck out of high stakes. I have not had a good season at all at high stakes, and I've had a really good MME year, my first year MMEing NHL. So I'm just kind of sticking with the $8, and that being my main tournament. But yeah, I mean, there was overlay last night, so like I'll throw in entries to the high dollar stuff, especially when it's going to overlay. But for the most part, mid to low stakes, mid-low stakes. I don't know, whatever you call the 8 and 33, all that kind of stuff. Mostly the 8 though. Just trying to become the next Osmo, right? You got to be loaded to play the 888. No, you just have to build up a bankroll and just be smart with it and take shots when you feel like you have an edge. So this lineup, man, I don't know what I want to do with this. But it'll be really interesting to see what he runs tomorrow. So there's obviously a method to the madness. I just don't know what all of a sudden turned him on to literally one-offing skaters. So maybe it was a mistake and I'm just overthinking it. Maybe, it was a CSV error, but I don't think it was. What else were we going to look at? Someone else had a question. Will there ever be NHL ownership projections, or is ownership relevant in NHL? NHL noob here. I am Chappie. All right. Well, first of all, welcome to NHL. NHL is the best DFS sport. NHL ownership projections. We haven't seen anyone that provides very accurate ones. Alex is actually working on it. I tried working on NHL ownership projections. Really tough to try to make ownership projections when you've never made ownership projections for any sport. I didn't get close at all. So I kind of handed it off to Alex, and he's been working on them for the last couple weeks. So I'll actually check in with him and see on that. I am Chappie about the NHL ownership projections, because I know he's been working with them. Maybe that's a reason why he's doing this new strategy and trying stuff out. I don't know, but FC for 3 entry max or single entry. Yeah. So for me, well, okay, if you hand build a lot, or most of the time, I still think if you have Fantasy Cruncher, like, you should use it for ownership reasons, just to kind of see what fits together. Because I think what I do is, when I'm going through each of the games, then so if I'm going through each game, I might see a spot in the third game I look at that I think is really awesome, and just like your cognitive bias is just going to say, okay, this spot, like, I'm just locking this spot into my 1 or 2 or 3 lineups, where I don't think you should think that way. You should see what all fits together, and what Fantasy Cruncher does is show you. So what I would do, maybe here, let's go to rewind, and let's go to a bigger slate. Like, let's go to the slate for last night. I think I've got my projections. No, I don't have my projections in there. Whatever. We'll just use Fantasy Crunchers. So what I would do is just run with 4 uniques and just kind of see what fits together. Or, maybe you want to cross off a couple teams. I'd probably cross off, maybe you only want to play a couple teams top line. So let's say last night you really liked Boston, but you're trying to whittle it down to like 1 to 3 lineups. What I would do is, all right, you like Boston, maybe you like this Minnesota top line with Stahl, Zucker and Granlund like I did. A couple other spots I liked where I did like San Jose quite a bit. Loved Colorado, loved Edmonton. All right, so you got 5 spots here. You got 5 top lines. Now, what I would do is just run the optimizer and see, maybe you just do 20 lineups. And you can add in randomness here. Maybe you want to make a rule to run 4-3-1s. So you add that stacking rule. Let's say you want to use at least 49,000. And just to make the optimizer go a little bit quicker, let's do 10% randomness. All right. So if using Fantasy Cruncher projections, or if you have your own projections, or other people, see what your projections like. See what other projection systems like as well. So Fantasy Crunchers tend to favor McDavid, Ratty, and Lucic. You see why. They were pretty chalky, especially at the upper stakes. But now you can click through this and be like, all right, well, I've got 3 lineups to play with, and I definitely want a Colorado 1 lineup. Okay, what stacks fit? All right, this stack fits McDavid, Lucic, and Ratty, but the defensemen you're getting kind of suck. Matt Benning, correlates, I guess, to Ratty and Lucic, but do you really not want your defenseman to correlate to the best player in the stack? I don't know. I probably wouldn't. All right, so you throw that lineup out. All right, yeah, just maybe not enough firepower here. Maybe throw this lineup out. And you just kind of get down and eliminate what you think looks good and what you think doesn't. But you sort of get a visual of what fits together and what's not even possible based on the style that you want to play. So that's how I would use it for limited entries. I would still run the optimizer. You don't have to run just 20. You could run 50 or 100 and get a good idea of what the chalk's going to be. Get a good idea of, are my lines going to be chalky? Do I need to go, if you're going with Edmonton 1, do I need to go kind of off the board with another stack? But yeah, that's how I would use it. So hopefully that answers your question, Nick. But there's a ton of other things you can do with Fantasy Cruncher. Like, it's just the best tool. He must see something. Yeah, Osmo, that is. I love the hand-built style. Yeah. I don't know. I'll be studying that, and I'll be trying to go back. And we could actually just do it right now. We've got a few more minutes. This is a 2-game slate. I've got most of my lineups made already. He didn't play this. Wait, let me go to Saturday. We had a 12-gamer. I checked on Friday. He wasn't playing. I think he was at the Super Bowl. That's why. So he probably wasn't playing this either, but let's just check just in case. Oh, of course. Yeah, I forgot about this. Tom, just big city. Like, he hasn't been playing much NHL that I've seen lately, but just takes down the top 2 in the toughest tournament on the slate for that night. No big deal. He also ends up with 8 and 9. See some very good players around him. Boom, boom. 10 as well. Like, he just crushed everything on DK. But let's look at, oops, not me, because I did not do very well. Let's look at these. Did he do it here too? He did not. Oh, this is another thing. So Stahl was, a lot of these pros that play other sports especially can, they'll tend to not prioritize the late swaps, and they won't look at line stuff for pregame skates. So like this was a 7 Eastern game, this game, and Stahl was actually with Zucker and Granlund, so they got put back together. And I almost missed this too. I saw it with like 2 or 3 minutes left and just tried to swap as much as I could. But like, that's another good edge. If you're around your computer, swap when you should swap. Yeah, Roslovic night. So what Tom does, Mikko's done for the season. That's a big loss for the Wild. I know he sucks offensively, but defensively, very, very good. Yeah, just not the Wild season, I guess. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, Roslovic. Tom actually targets, like, game time decisions. So anyone that's got, like, the game time decision tag on DraftKings, he'll, like, actively seek out reasons to play that line because, you know, like we talked about, like, maybe line A might be 7% owned, but, let's see, Roslovic. Yeah, okay, so line A was 4.5. So really no one was on Winnipeg 2 anyways, but Roslovic was 2%. And look, Tom had, like, all the Roslovic. Like, there's 5 lineups right there. So he's accounting for a good chunk of that 2% ownership. So he just does smart stuff like that. That seems simple, but that's why he's also a very good player. So Alex did not do it here. So that was the first slate he did that. Okay, so I'm not going crazy here. Oh, wait. Hold up. He did do it. Koivu, Granlund, Zucker, that's normal. Oh, okay. Braden Point was out, right? Braden Point was a late scratch. So he just global swapped to Zibanejad. He did catch that one. Yeah, everything else is good. All right, Alex, we're on to you. We're on to you. Who had the 0.8% from Dermott? Who banked the Travis Dermott? Alex did? He got a 7.5 from Travis Dermott. My God. Look at that. Look at that, folks. Yeah, so 4-3-1. Nothing out of the ordinary here. Oh, wait. It wasn't even a 4-3-1, was it? 3-3. Okay, so he's not even he's trying new stuff out. I think that's clear. He's trying new stuff out. He's not going 4-3-1. Here either. Yeah. Okay. Burns and Zadorov. All right. So it's confirmed. Alex is trying new strategies. What's sick? Eagles, why are you saying that's sick? Oh, the Dermott 7.5 at 0.8%. Yeah, Alex is shooting his Travis Dermott shot. Sometimes you just got to do that. Sometimes you just got to play Travis Dermott and get a 7.5 out of the man when no one's on him but you. All right, I think that was hopefully a helpful thing for you guys. I just wanted to talk about that and honestly just see if any of you guys noticed that last night, that Alex was running out some weird stuff. Let's see. Not that. Yeah, Mikko out for the season. Let's go to what was Toffoli's ownership? I don't think anybody played him in the 888, unless you have a thing for Hainsey. I think I did get one Hainsey lineup in my crunch. What was I gonna do? Oh yeah, this. I wonder what Tom rolled out last night. Tom played the 888 and the 8. Tom JK. Man. Kuznetsov, Verana. Yeah, okay, so he was on the same thing as Tommy Bomb was in that, but obviously this is in the $8. Tommy Bomb added in the 888, so a little bit different. But yeah, same thing. Nothing out of the ordinary here for Tom. 4-3-1 correlated goalie. Pretty standard. All right, so I guess our homework our homework is just to wait for tomorrow at lock and see what Alex is running out, because we're gonna have some interesting discussions if he decides to do that again. So I'll ask about NHL ownership, and I'll get back to you guys on that. I know a couple people have asked me about that. So yeah, good stream. Good talk about this 2-gamer. And Nolan and I will be back tomorrow. We're probably going to start at 4 Eastern, maybe a little bit before. I don't want to be on too late. Try to, stay out of the NBA guys' way. So big slate tomorrow. Don't waste all your money tonight. And go Toronto 1, Ottawa 2, and Boston 1. That's going to take me to the promised land, hopefully. So good luck, guys. Catch you tomorrow.